right, looks like we're live. Good morning, everybody. Should be an exciting day. We got Clover earnings, got some other stocks moving this morning. We'll get into all that and more. Kind of an interesting day in the NFL yesterday. We had a lot of upsets, a lot of crazy games. I got eliminated from the survivor pool. I was doing good for a while, and I lost 2 weeks in a row, so I'm out. Let's see who's in here this morning. 6-8 Spindrift, what's up? Happy earnings day. Scotty's up early, what's up? Joey G, good morning. Josh Stewart, gonna be a good week. Yeah, I hope so too. I think and we'll talk about it more in depth, but I really think Clove's we're probably gonna rise into earnings today. It's in after hours, I think at 2 p.m. on the West Coast, 5 p.m. on the East Coast. But I think we'll kind of rise throughout the day. But I'm also expecting it to probably get hit a little hard, like during the earnings call or immediately afterwards, regardless of what happens, and then rally back. Now, how much it'll get hit, I have no idea, but regardless of where we finish today, I'm expecting a little bit of a dip during the earnings call. It just seems to be like the way a lot of these things play out with these manipulated stocks. Kind of scare investors away right as they drop the news type of thing. But yeah, I think overall we'll see a good week, even if we do get hammered down pretty low after earnings today. And depending on where we finish the day off, maybe we don't get hammered down too low, or maybe I'm wrong completely. Sly Dev, what's up? Good morning. Present Minds. Pete, what's going on? William, who else is in here? Risky Seeds. Louie, good morning. Fella, good morning. Kimster's in the house. Skip C. Thomas. We've got a lot of people in here early today. Mike Kraft. Brian Sanders. E-Money. JJ. Turts McGurts. I was thinking about you this morning. I saw all the minor plays were moving. TTD popping after earnings. What's the trade desk? Is that that hasn't even been on my radar lately. That was one that I used to. Oh yeah. Yeah, TTD runs. It's up to 80 right now. This used to be a trading for 900 too. It might even be more than what's on here. But they did a 10-to-1 stock split. So even when you look back and see, I think somewhere around here, maybe. Oh no, there's the split right there. Yeah, so at this point it was like at $700, and then they split it and took it down to 70. I think that might be where it was at. Yeah, 10-1 split. Damn, that didn't even pop up on my scanner this morning. See, Paul Jones, what's up? Dennis D. Crypto Cello, Scott Russell, good morning. Dan, what's going on? And then Detour, what's up? Good morning. I saw J Vapes. Joey G says I saw J Vapes analysis on CLOV failure to delivers, which are still happening. Do you think they've been covered or are relevant now? You know what? Let me pull that up. I'll try to get that up right now. So the most recent data on failure to delivers for CLOV is right here. And I mean, it's not. We've seen some pretty crazy numbers in the past where I think like the highest was something like 19 million or something. I'm not familiar with what Jay Vape said, but it doesn't look like. So the thing to remember with failure to delivers is they're not accumulative. Like you don't add all these numbers up. So according to this, on October 14th, there was 40,000 out there. That means that the 127,000 from the previous day, one could assume that like 87,000 of them were covered, and that's why there was only 40 the next day. So it's reporting the entire amount of failure to deliver is not. It doesn't accumulate. But I'm not quite sure what he was saying, so I can't answer that question entirely. What's your price target on Prog? So for me, right now, it's so hard with squeeze plays. But I'm glad you brought up Prog because we can get into that one first. For anyone watching right now, the three that I have up here right now is AMC, Clover is in the middle, and Prog. So Prog is I still think this is probably, like for me at least, I think this has the most potential as a squeeze play right now. Short interest is high, 35%. Cost to borrow is high, 89. Utilization's high, 96. So we have, kind of these numbers that would ultimately, make it expensive. Cost to borrow is going to make it expensive for anyone who's shorting the stock to stay in it. It's got a high short interest. The utilization's high, which means that they're, almost running out of shares. But then the option chain is, pretty significant considering the float size. So, with the float, the size of Progs is like, 130 million or something like that. You're looking at 3.8 million shares here, 2.9, 3.2, 2.3, for all these call contracts. And there's not a lot of puts to offset them on the other side. Max pain right now is 250, so it's trading above max pain. But also, that's something that I'm keeping my eye on because, when we look at the daily chart on Prog, it's kind of following that same pattern that it's, just been stair-stepping. But on this last time it came down, it looks like they're trying to push it down to 250. Not successfully right now, but, right now we're at 350. If I see this thing get down there close to, Clove just hit $8, by the way. There's Clove down here. Just got a nice spike with some volume behind it. So if Prog all of a sudden, gets pushed down to 250, I'm just gonna exit and move on to the next play, because that's where max pain's at right now. But in terms of my price target on it, at least I'm looking for it to blow out this option chain. I think if it gets some momentum and starts moving, we're getting closer and closer. We're only 11 days away from options expiration here, and this option chain's loaded up. And I think that when it starts moving again this next time, if it kind of like blows above $4, we're going to see a lot of these, this delta start increasing, and we're going to see it at least go up to $7.50, $8. That's what I'm thinking now. How much higher after that? I have no idea. That's just where I'm going to start scaling out. With VIH, my target was 20, and that thing ended up hitting. I was completely out except for 2 call contracts by I think like $33, and that was way too early. I don't know why I put VIH in. It ended up going up to 50, and I think it even hit 60 in after hours that day. But I got out somewhere around here. So, or no, back here. There's really no way to know. If you're following Ortex data, you can kind of, watch and see once the short interest goes down, but that doesn't always tell you when either. So for me with Prog, I'm gonna start slowly scaling out once we pass 8, and then kind of use 8 as my floor. Like if all of a sudden it falls back down below 8, just get out completely. That's my plan at least. Let's see. Scotty says, "What's up with the suicide pool?" I'm out, man. Crazy week in the NFL. So here's the update on the pool. We got looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people left. I think I said 5 on the Discord the other night, but I was missing somebody. But it looks like Scotty's still in, Ago, Dan, Shrimply, very disturbed, and then Spectron's still the only undefeated person. Unfortunately, I took the Raiders. I'm out. Looks like Papa Clove. Me and Papa Clove had no mulligans issued 2 weeks ago, and we both got knocked out back to back weeks. Narwhal also went out this last week, so 4 of us got eliminated, or 3. Very disturbed, still alive. So yeah, suicide pool. I'm out. Turd says puts on Tesla. So anyone who wasn't watching on social media over the weekend, Elon Musk basically tweeted out that a Twitter poll, and he said whatever the results of the poll are is what he was going to do. And the question was, should he sell 10% of his Tesla holdings? And the answer was yes. So I think speculation over the weekend was that Tesla was going to drop today, but I don't know if the drop already happened. I mean, you figure it closed around 12:16, and you could see right here at 1 a.m. it dropped all the way down to 11:32, and it's starting to rally back now. I don't know that it's going to rally all the way back. I also don't know if he sold his 10% off this morning at 1 a.m. and that was the drop, or if that sell-off is still coming. So kind of hard to, know what's going on there. But I had some buddies who were saying the same thing, like, "Oh, let's go puts on Tesla on Monday." And what I had told them over the weekend was like, "Man, by the time the market opens, the damage might already be done, and then, who knows?" But I mean, shit. Even where it's looking to open up right now is only like right here. I don't know if it's going back down to 850, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard to go to bet against Tesla, but I do feel like, there might be some more drop left to go. Elon Musk is smart though too. He probably sell 10% of his shares, let this thing drop down, buy back his holdings for cheaper, and then do a stock split, and the thing will go flying again. Cuckoo Bird, what's up? Good morning. Turd says Ader earnings on Wednesday. So ATER and SDC, I still really like. The only thing is, and I've been saying this, I want to kind of wait until it gets past max pain. But then again, it's trading for $6. Max pain's at 10. So, it is kind of intriguing at this level where it's at right now, just because it kind of looks like maybe it's bottoming out. But I mean, we've seen this even with Clove before, where it could definitely drop back down to its previous level of $3. I don't know. I kind of would want to wait, and even if I jump on this late, be in a little late, as it, make sure that it really starts to reverse, start to see some it trending in the opposite direction. Because once it gets running, I think Ader, again, high short interest, high cost to borrow, high utilization. I mean, this is almost, hold on. Am I looking at Ader right now? I think that was still Prog. The numbers look too familiar. All right, actually no. So short interest actually declined, but 20% still high. Cost to borrow at 24 is still decent. Utilization's a lot lower though. So it's almost like once it got pinned to max pain, these numbers started falling off too. So yeah, I mean, there's still some room between $6 and $10 on max pain. I just feel like there's some better plays out there right now. Um, Michael, what's up? La Clover Nostra. DTC on Prog. Let me pull that back up. And then the next one I wanted to talk about was BBIG because that one's actually running right now this morning. Came up on my scanner, and then that's one that I've already been watching. So this is Prog again, and days to cover 0.54. I mean, that's nothing. But that's just because of the heightened volume that it's been seeing lately, you know. Levi says Clove has all my attention today. Yeah, well, the other thing too. So, every Monday night, me and Ghost do the NFL show, No Financial Limits. We talk football and talk stocks. I would imagine today will be more Clove. So anyone who wants to tune in tonight, it'll be at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. And we'll probably be talking about just really, I would imagine, just because me and him are so heavily invested in Clove, that'll be kind of the topic of the show. So maybe we'll even start a little early too. So make sure if you haven't already, set notifications or whatever, and we'll probably get on and really, dive into the earnings call and everything else. But yeah, today should be exciting for Clove for sure. Let's see here. Every dip says lots of hype on LTRY. Yeah. Ecom actually has been messaging me about that one for weeks. So LTRY is lottery.com. And that was one that, there's just so many plays out there that I was looking at and kind of intrigued with, and I never got into it. The other one, unfortunately, that actually, and let me, is Big Five. I know I mentioned it on here the other day, and I hope some of you guys jumped in. I didn't. But I had talked about Big Five right here when it was at $26 last week. And that thing goes up to 42. And actually, just before I forget, so I mean, Big Five is actually still 49% short interest. Cost to borrow isn't up yet. It's at 2.8, but utilization's at 99. So the numbers are looking decent. It's got a really great looking option chain right now. Okay, considering its float size is only like 20 million, the option chain is starting to pick up a little bit. They just extended it out a little, and on top of that, max pain's 25. So just something to keep in mind, kind of like I said with Prog. If Prog falls down to 250, I'm out. If they can control it and get it down there, and we're kind of close to that with Big Five right now. If for anyone who is in that play, but if it creeps down and drops down to this level intraday, I would just exit because at that point it's probably just going to get manipulated and controlled. But it did look like this could be a little bit of a stair stepper, getting ready to go, consolidating and ready for its next move too. If this thing sees volume, I could see it taking off and heading upwards of 60. I'm not in the play. It's just one that I've been watching. But BBIG, might as well just transition to that. That's the only other one that I really, other than Clove and some of the ones that I'm in, that I've been watching. So BBIG, you could see it closed Friday at 462. It's trading at 510 right now. Had a nice spike this morning. You know, that's another one that's kind of been on the watch list as a, you know, potential squeeze play, but it was trading below max pain for the longest time. And so I kind of said, I'm not going to look to jump in unless it gets above it. Well, max pain right now on BBIG is 450, I believe. Let me make sure. Yeah, $4.50 right now. And if we look at the short interest, again, it's decent, 33%. Cost to borrow is increasing. Shit, it's already up to 108 today on average. Utilization's at 100%. So these are all like great numbers. It's got a catalyst behind it. Basically, what happened is this morning BBIG announced that it was going to do a spinoff of another company. The ticker symbol is going to be TYDE, but the company's Cryptotide or Cryptide. And basically, so BBIG is not changing its course. You know, it's still looking to do its merger with, I can't remember the name of the company, but I think it's why can't I find it on here? Either way, they're still completing their regular merger that they had, but um, it's also, you know, it's Zash Global Media. So BBIG is still going to do their merger with them under the ticker symbol BBIG, but at the same time, if for every 10 shares you own of BBIG, you're going to get 1 share of Tide. So it's almost like owning BBIG right now gives you access to 2 companies. Okay, and BBIG also has all the short interest, and it could be a nice squeeze play too. So, you know, I could see this one really starting to run too. We could take a look at the options chain on that one real quick. Just to see, like I said, it is back above max pain, which is kind of what I've been waiting for to get in on an entry point. Float size on BBIG, I think is 87 million. Not a lot going on here, considering that size. This November 19th chain looks a little bit more promising, at least at the 550, the 6, the 7 strike, but still a lot of gaps. 8 looks okay. So it still has a little bit. It's not really set up for a gamma squeeze yet that I could see. If we take a look at the entire chain on TradyTix, let's see what that looks like. It's hard to look chain by chain, but I think BBIG has the potential to be a nice runner right now. Yeah, it kind of looks the same way throughout the entire chain. So it's like, you know, huge open interest here at 5, 550, and 6, but then it kind of falls off. You know, that's still pretty significant though. 34,000 calls for 80 million float. 48,000, 26,000. So I would say there's probably enough here to at least like have this thing rip through 10. But then, like I said, it kind of falls off. But who knows? With that high short interest, that might be enough to kind of propel it even further too. So yeah, I'm really liking this one today. Let's see what's up. Paul Jones says Prog earnings Wednesday. I mean, for me, Prog's been more of a squeeze play, but I know that, you know, fundamentally, I think they've got price targets that are like, let me see if I can pull this up real quick. The price targets on Prog right now are higher than what the stock is trading at too, which is one of the other things that you know, made it kind of intriguing to me as well. And I can't find that article right now. Let's see. thought I saw a higher number. I don't know. Looks like there's an analyst price target of $4, but I thought I saw something higher. But either way, um, for me, the earnings with Prog on Wednesday, they already reported out their actual numbers. If we look, I won't go over all of them, but the numbers have already came out. It's just the earnings call is on Wednesday. So if we look, and I think they beat some estimates, but they also missed a couple estimates too. So it was where we at? Better than expected Q3 EPS. So that was just on November 3rd. So they actually released their numbers already, but they're gonna have the earnings call on Wednesday after hours and maybe give us some guidance moving forward. So, I think either way, with a stock with this high short interest and such a loaded options chain and everything else, all you need is just something to get excited about, some sort of catalyst to bring some more volume into the stock, and I think this thing's ready to fly. Junior Wills, what's up? Alex says Clover earnings out or not. No, so it's after hours today. It's going to be at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Andy Smith, what's up? Good morning. Let's see here. Yeah, every dip says BBIG 10-1 Cryptide. Malik says not much to say about Clove. Nah, I was just kind of waiting to see, to kind of get through the rest of this stuff. So right now, I guess I kind of went through everything. We've been talking about all these other stocks. The only other one that's on my watch list right now, and nothing really news happened with it, is AGC. I think that's going to be the next kind of big play, maybe like a VIH type of deal. Also has pretty decent short interest, all that kind of stuff. The numbers are all there to support a little bit of a nice squeeze. But I think this one might maybe take a month or two. But here's AGC, short interest 37, cost to borrow increasing, utilization 100. They are going to have a merger happening this quarter. Okay. It could be one of those things where you start to see warrant redemptions and everything else play into it. With VIH, I was expecting it to happen sooner. It ended up trading as BKKT for, I think, about 2 weeks before it really took off, and had its little squeeze action. But I think AGC kind of fits in that same mold. So that's one that I've just been accumulating right now and kind of have a target of at least happening maybe by like February-ish or something. But anyways, that was kind of last on my list of the stocks that I wanted to talk about. So looking at Clove, all right. We did finish above Max Payne. Max Payne last week was 750. Okay, I'd kind of said on Monday I thought we would get above 8 and be at 810. Still very happy to finish off the day at 787. It's Max Payne's kind of like always a thing until it's not, right? And that's why with a lot of these other plays, I'll wait until they get above Max Payne, even though you might be missing out on a fraction of, or maybe 2% or 3% of the move. I'd rather wait until we get above it before I kind of go all in and start holding shares and then end up getting pinned forever. So with Clove's been different. I've been holding for a while, and now we're above it. Okay, I didn't check Max Payne for this week. Yeah, it's still 750. So we're sitting at about at what 795 right now. We did touch above $8, or we right at $8. I would imagine that today with the anticipation of the earnings call and everything, we're going to see a green day. I would imagine we'll crack through 8, maybe even get above that 820 level. And really what I really think, no matter where we end the day at, if we end the day at 750 or if we end the day at, 950, I do think that we're going to give a little bit back during the earnings call. I think that you're going to see, this is like typical for almost any stock. Right after the earnings call, no matter how great the guidance is or no matter what the numbers are, you're going to see the stock get slammed down, and trying to scare, retail investors out while they still haven't had process to, or time to process what the earnings call said or what the guidance was. And then you'll see it rally back. Now, I've seen that happen in a matter of minutes before, or I've seen it happen where it might drag out into tomorrow's pre-market and then the stock starts rallying. But either way, that's my expectation. Now, I'm not saying if you're looking to buy Clove, wait until after earnings, because you never know if this stock ends up getting all the way up to 950 today. It being hammered down might just be taking it down to 870, and then it rallies from there. So there's really no way of knowing. I think at these prices, Clove is a steal. I've been saying that for months. I do think that, here's the deal. Like when it comes to the earnings, I know there's like MCR is going to be a big number, right? Everyone's going to want to see that number decrease. The other big one is going to be with the direct contracting. Did they increase there? To me, that's going to be like probably the two big major points in regards to earnings. Now, when it comes to guidance, though, that's where I think is going to really be key, is them telling us more about the Clover Assistant, what their plans are for it, and also what their expectations are for this open enrollment period that's going on. And to me, that's bigger than, the MCR and some of the other stuff. I mean, they've also been advertising a shit ton recently because they're in open enrollment. So that's probably going to eat into their revenue a little bit as well, I would imagine. So either way, I think it's going to be more about the guidance this time around, and giving us their projections for what's to come in the future. And hopefully that'll, bring along those price target increases. I know they're also speaking at the Credit Suisse health conference, I think, this week, which is insane that we got that lowered price target to $8 last week, or $7, whatever it was. I think it was 8, but I don't know. I'm really intrigued. I think today's going to be really fun. And then, like I said, tonight, Ghost will be on with me for our Monday night show, NFL No Financial Limits. And I would imagine we'll really be able to like kind of hash out and break down the earnings call and really give some insight as to, what's going on with it. Jason Beck says Clove IV jumped. Is that a good sign? Yeah. I mean, that's basically going to say that, the market is projecting the stock to move. So yeah, it's up to 126. I think it was at like 100 on Friday morning, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I mean that's basically showing that there's going to be there's more interest in the stock right now, right? You're gonna, if you're seeing some big buy orders. I think last time I looked at Tradie Ticks, let me pull this up. The options flow has been extremely bullish on Clove for a while now, leading into earnings. Let's see here. So yeah, come down and look. We still don't have a ton of gamma exposure, so that's really nothing to get excited about just yet. But as we look over here, what's this right here? So we got a 950 put for 1112, at $1.88. Now, sometimes, just to clarify too, when you see these, that doesn't necessarily mean that someone's betting against the stock, right? So just to put this into perspective, so somebody basically bought or sold 201 puts for the 950 strike for this Friday at $1.88. If you do the math, that means that they're basically, if this was a bullish play and someone sold these puts, what is the difference there? 38 cents. So they're basically looking to acquire shares for a cost basis of a 762, if my math's right. So, if I sold the 950 strike and Clove closes at 940, I have to buy those shares at 950, but I got $1.88 premium back on that. So that could be a bullish play. I don't really see someone going in and buying puts like that right before at that 950 strike, but nothing for the most part. Bullish options flow across the board. We're seeing a ton of it, and it's been continuing for a while now. So yeah, that IV increase is showing that bigger players are coming in and starting to buy this, starting to play options on this. Zeke for Bleak, what's up? Kenneth, what's going on? Good morning. The tour says, hope this prog goes to 50 like the last stock he showed us. Man, I don't know. I mean, it's always so hard to say, like, like GameStop, for instance, back in November, and I wasn't even on that then. But I mean, it started at around $3 and it got up to $30 and kind of based there for a second. And that's when I jumped in on it. And then it went up to 100 and it was like, shit, is this over? And then it went up to 480. Now, obviously, Prog short interest isn't close to what GameStop's is, but it does have, a relatively small float. And that's why I said there's no real way to know how high it's going to go. For me, I just kind of like look at the options chain, and if we're trading above max pain, because let's say Prog goes up to $5-6 today. Now they'll extend the option chain out to 12. And if the option chain continues to get loaded in order and provide that fuel, and max pain still stays low and we keep trending in the right direction, now we blow out 12. We see the option chain get extended to 24, and it can continue, that type of stuff can continue to ramp. But or it could just blow out and get to $7 or $8 and then start, get manipulated back down and be over. So, really hard to say, but that's why my plan is always to like scale out at the top of the chain, right? So if that means it really depends on whatever your exit strategy is, and how big your position size is. But if you, sell a little once you get to that point, if it's right now, $8, let's say, for Prog, and that's more than enough to cover your cost basis for the entire play because it just went up huge. Now, as it continues to go, and let's say it goes up to 15, you scale out a little more, and shit, it keeps ripping, and it goes to 30, you scale out a little more. But that way, you always have some shares or call contracts in case it, really just blows the top off. So, so Michael says he sees a price target at Prog for 6. Yeah, I just did a quick Google search because I couldn't remember where I saw it, but I remember seeing some higher price targets, and that's why, like I haven't even really dug into Prog fundamentally at all. I've been so busy lately. I mean, I haven't even made a video about Prog or Clover for that matter for a while, but just talking on here, and I do remember seeing some higher price targets, and so I would imagine, regardless of what happens with the earnings call, I mean, they beat estimates last week. It's going to be all about the guidance and, them saying stuff to get investors excited, and hopefully that'll bring some more volume in, and we'll see this stock continue to run. Any infrastructure plays on your radar? Man, CLF's one that it's just, I don't know. I feel like I got my toes in too much right now already. But CLF is one that I was trading a long time ago, and before it was CLF, and I don't know. I wish I would have held on to it now. I've seen that thing's been it was ripping a while back. I haven't even looked at it in a while, but um, nah, I haven't even really been dabbling in any of that stuff. I've just been so busy. We got so with the high school football team playoffs are starting this Friday. My kids, I have I coach two flag football teams. It's just on Sundays though, but we just had playoffs yesterday, and still going to school, still working. I just been insane. I haven't kind of can't wait for football season to be over so I can start focusing a little bit more. Um, all right, Zeke, you have a good one. I just saw that. I don't know if you're still in here, but it says keeping an eye on Clover for sure. Catch up with everyone on social media. All right, man. Danny did it. Good morning. How do I see the option chain increase? So when you look at, like, for instance, I'll just show you Clove because I have this one up right now. So like with Clove right now, the chain goes up to 15. Um, but then the November 19th actually goes up to 43. The reason is when you look at the entire chain, you know, typically you only have your weeklies go out for maybe like a month and a half. You know, as you can see here, these are like the ones that are for every Friday. But then you have your monthlies that are out for usually about 6 months out, like January, February. And then it looks like they went quarterly. They skipped to May. Then, you know, you have your yearly ones, January 23, January 24. So the way the option chain gets built, think about the market makers like they're they're kind of like the casino or the bookie. You know, they set a spread. They want just as many call buyers and put buyers on either side, and they want that price to be right in the middle. That way they can kind of, if we look at, let's just say I'll go to December 17th. They would rather have um with this chain trading where it's at or when it was created, this, because it's at 43, it's probably got extended to 43 when Clove was trading at 21 or something, and that's when they doubled it out to 43 or 22. Actually, it was that day on June 8th when it closed at 22. They extended the chain to 43. But at that time, they're always going to extend the chain out so that, there's just as many calls out of the money as there is in the money. And so it's always going to like double whatever the price is trading at right now. And so what happens is, like, let's say with Clove, for instance, this week we start trading at 15. We blow out the chain and we're trading at 15. Well, they'll extend this chain to 30, okay? But then you'll go to November 19th, they won't have to extend it because it's already there. But now all these weeklies will get extended to 30. Again, December monthlies won't have to because they were already around last time, so those will still be at 43. Same thing here, but now when you go out to like these ones that are newer, they go to 42 as well. Oh, there we go. So this January 24 only goes to 20. That would get extended out to 30. Basically, they'll push everything out to that 30 mark at least, even though there's some that already go to 42. So in the sense of Prog, I mean, you just look at it like, so right now, Prog goes to 750. If it blows out the chain and goes to $8, tomorrow, what we'll end up seeing is the following day, I would imagine it would go up to 16 now, and you'll start seeing it extend all the way through on all these different chains to 16. And so really it's just a matter of wherever it closes. If double that number, the chain doesn't support it, you'll see it kind of increase again. We just saw that even with the Big Five Sporting Goods last week, where I think the chain went up to 40 and now it extended it to 60 once it started trading in that $30 range. I hope that makes sense. Dan says, I thought 16 was good for BKKT. Man, I'm mad I sold in the 30s. I thought it was done. I've seen so many times now where you get this big pop and it's like, and then they just bring it down, and it's almost like, you know what though, 16 is good. That's a 60% increase from the $10 mark where it was at. So it's like, I mean, gains are gains, and it's always, I know it's always hard to look back and say, man, I could have made this much more, but at the same time, it's a lot better than losing, especially when you're playing options. Like, I was just talking to some friends about that this weekend. Um, because my wife just texted me. Um, the last big run up with GameStop, he had bought some call options because we were kind of assuming that the run up was going to come, and I mean, this thing, it did go up. It didn't go up as high as we thought, but there was that time when his call options were like worth, I think, like almost 80 times what he bought them for or something. And I'm like, dude, you got to sell at least half. Like, just get or 25%, like put some money in your pocket. And he didn't. And he watched it go way up and then come back down and ended up breaking even. He didn't lose money, which is good. But I guess the other thing I was going to say with options is, you always got to go in with, when you're just buying calls, kind of have that like really, really defensive mindset of, like a ticking time bomb. Like, if I don't sell this and take my profits, I might lose everything. And if you go into it playing it with that mindset, you'll take more profits and you'll be way more successful, because the longer you hold on to a call contract, there's always that chance that the stock goes up and you'll make more. But usually, it comes back down and you make nothing, and you lose it all. So, and that could happen overnight too, with just the slightest dip, the slightest change in IV and everything. So, that's why I exited VIH, BKKT when I did, was because I had that kind of defensive mindset. Like, it was getting ready to close out the day around 40. And I'm thinking, shit, if I don't sell these call contracts now, tomorrow morning it might open up at 20. And now I just, how much, or even lower, who knows, and you got to kind of have that. So I ended up selling all of them but two. But I think, again, taking profits is always good. Always good. Faith, what's up? Good morning. Happy Monday, Clover fam. Says, we've been so patient, long seeing other plays materialize. Hopeful earnings and future guidance with mean catalyst. Let's see it. I think so too. I think, I really think that the guidance today, the company's been, we've been talking about this for a long time now, but nothing but good news and good press and good, even the revenue's been increasing. They still haven't been profitable, and I don't think that they're gonna, necessarily have any like groundbreaking revelation today that's gonna say, hey, look, we're operating at a profit now. Just because, they're still in open enrollment, but who knows, with the DC plans, if maybe they had a huge increase. But I don't really know, because they just got that approval to expand into those new counties. So I don't think we'll see too much fruition there yet. But I think it's all about the guidance. They should be able to tell us, based on what they've already done, what they're anticipating for next quarter. And like I said, I really want to hear more about the Clover Assistant and what their plans are for it. Because that's kind of like the reason what drew me into this play was the tech, the AI, the Clover Assistant side, and that's what I'm. You know what? While I have Prog's moving right now too, I'm gonna put BBIG down here, just so we can keep an eye on that one as well. Greg says, who do you guys play for high school playoffs? So we're going, we have Amador Valley at home. They're not very good. I'm not saying that to talk shit. I would imagine it should be a not very competitive game. And then, the following week, I'm assuming we're going to play De La Salle. Anyone who's familiar with Northern California, that's the top team in Northern California for about 30 years now. So we'll face them in the second round. But they redid our playoff structure this year, which is crazy. I know I'm probably only talking to a handful of people that are from Northern California now, but um, if we lose that second round game, if we were to, we still have the opportunity to play in a third week in the Division One playoff bracket, and then still move on to a state playoff game. So should be pretty interesting. I'm excited. It should be this game. The team I think we're playing right now in the first round of the playoffs lost like 6 straight games. So it's like I said, it's not shouldn't be too competitive for week one. I don't think, but who knows? It's always an opportunity to lose every time you step on the field. Sacktown's finest. What's up? Says been a minute. Clover earnings today. Then Shorty's going to continue to beat us down. I hope not. I hope we don't get beat down. I hope this is the end of it today. Let's see what happens. Michelle, good morning. Michael says his area high school football team is on a 31 game win streak. Damn. That's awesome. Maybe the Chiefs should swap defenses. Man, the Chiefs, that was, I know the Chiefs won yesterday, but that was not impressive at all. I mean, you're playing the Packers with no Aaron Rodgers, that, and you're supposed to be one of the top teams in the AFC coming into this year. They barely beat them, 13-7. I haven't been high on the Chiefs all year. But even more so, that game last night just kind of showed me that like they're done, at least for this year. This is just going to be kind of a down year for them. I don't know. DJ Tardis, what's up? Good morning. Kenneth says love earnings week. Yeah, I think I haven't even looked at the volume this morning. Let me see what's going on here. So, the volume's at 356,000. So we're not seeing any, much volume yet on Clove, but that could change pretty damn fast. Let's see here. JR says, what do you think of EDU? I don't know anything about EDU. Is that let me see. Damn. Thing was trading at $20 and it's down to $2 now. Yeah, I don't know anything about this stock at all. I'd have to know a little bit more about it, like fundamentally, or is it a squeeze play? Is it like something with like an upcoming catalyst or something along those lines? What do we have up here? There we go. Prog looked like it was starting to run a little bit, and now it's coming down just a little. Prog's got 1.4 million volume this morning. EV charging stocks seem to be moving. Okay, let me check that out. I know the other one that was kind of moving this morning too was all the crypto plays, right? Like you got HUT popped up this morning. Did Gree move at all? Just slightly, not much. I think Annie's crypto, yeah. And then the two big ones, Mara and Riot. So those are all getting some movement too. But Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin hit like 66,000 right right? Is that where it was trading at this morning? So I mean, anytime it starts moving like that, you're gonna see some of those other stocks that kind of trade with it moving around the same. Let me see here. I know Turks is big in the mining plays. David Johnson, what's up? Good morning. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I know we got quite a few people on here this morning too. Anyone who can join us later. So the earnings call is at 2:00. But Ghost and I are gonna do our regular Monday night show at 4, and I think he might even pop on with us here in a little bit to talk about it and expectations and everything. But regardless, we are going to be streaming tonight the NFL show, No Financial Limits, and I would imagine that show is going to be probably primarily Clove, just really breaking down the earnings call and everything else. So really looking forward to that. Fred, what's up? Good morning. Big Daddy Roro, what's going on? Let's see here. Me Tenderfoot, good morning. Patrick, what's up? Blue, what's going on? I'm just trying to catch up with the chat real quick. Crypto Cello says a user on Reddit said BHG would outperform Clove. Did a little research on it, and it seems Cohen and other manipulators of Clove are long. Seems like they're changing the narrative with latest news. Yeah, I mean it's kind of like it's all a big game, right? I mean, you got. I don't think anybody. Well, I don't want to say anybody, but I think for the most part, you'll see that with a lot of analysts and um, take any stock, for instance. Somebody will release a short report on it, try to hammer it down, manipulate it downwards. They'll be short the stock, have puts on it at the time, write it down, and then once it gets down low enough and kind of finds its bottom, then they load up on it and buy a ton of shares, and then they release positive reports on it, and they ride it back up until they exit, and they think that they've taken enough out, and then the cycle starts again, and it just keeps going. But the big thing with Clove, and I can't stress this enough, is for me at least, it has nothing to do with the health insurance side. I mean, I think that's what analysts are grading it on right now, obviously, because really at the end of the day, all it is a health insurance company. But with the Clover Assistant and everything else that's going on with the company, because they have a ton of other, smaller projects and companies going on besides even the Clover Assistant, it's like it has the potential to be so much more. And I really think that, in the long term, this is more of a technology play. This is more of a software as a service play. I've said it, months ago, but I know we got, maybe newer people in here now. It's like, think about like Amazon AWS, that software that they lease out to their competitors. You know what I mean? And that's it's the software that makes Amazon.com run and everything else. But so they make money off those sales, but then they're also making money on the back end, as a software as a service play. And so I really think that's where Clove's headed, on the technology side, and that's where I want to see more guidance. Like, what are you gonna? And last time around, with the earnings, they got some patents. There was some news reports that they did some stuff to make it so that the Clover Assistant can easily integrate into all these different cloud services, and so they're moving in that direction. But I'd like to see more guidance on that. Like, show us, tell us what you're planning on doing, and I think that's what's going to eventually separate Clove from all these other health insurance companies. Is the health insurance company eventually is going to become profitable in itself and continue to grow, and it's going to end up, I think, even being one of the bigger health insurance players because, you know, if you're signed up with Clove, and you're getting access to this Clover Assistant at the same time, those patients are healthier, and that's going to make the company more profitable and allow them to do a lot more. But then you also have this technology play, so I still really like this company long term. Um, Thomas says, "Can we see Ortex?" Yes, let's check it out. I haven't even. I gotta say, I'm glad you asked because I don't even look anymore because I feel like with GameStop, AMC, even Clove for that matter, it's we're not getting like a true representation because I think there's a lot of hidden short interest in some of these bigger stocks. So here it is. We got 11% short interest. Um, Cost to borrow at 1.3, utilizations at 73%. Um, but the shares on loan 46 million. I mean, that's really, I think, about a quarter of the float, right? Maybe a little less than that. Maybe about 20% of the float. So let's see. Yeah, well, that's the other part too. Is the health equity portion. Cuckoo Bird says I agree with Coach. Clove differentiator is the AI, but health equity, which will eventually be funded in some fashion. And I agree with that, but I feel like when it comes to like, I mean, when you're in the stock market, at the end of the day, you're looking to make money, right? And um, while the health equity side is great to be involved in a play that, is doing all these great things and going above and beyond, like all these other companies are. Um, I don't know. I feel like maybe that might even, some of like older institutional investors and stuff, that might be a turnoff for them. I have no idea. It just seems like, I mean, for me, it makes sense. Like this is a company you want to succeed, but it just seems like with the, look at the companies that pharmaceutical companies and stuff that just get hammered into the ground that are doing like all this cancer research and everything, and they get shorted to shit because at the end of the day, you have, the major players. They don't want to see that succeed because they want to continue to make money off of high price medications and everything else. So that may even be one of the reasons why Clove is being targeted. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Uh, think health equity is a bigger deal because it's a largely untapped market. Challenge with AI is others can make that happen pretty quickly. Yeah. Um, I agree with that too, but they did get some patents. And I think, this is something that they've been doing. Like if all of a sudden it's easier for a company to start up with the AI and expand, in my opinion, than it is for, one of these major players, like let's say like Humana or somebody, to all of a sudden want to do it. And now they've got top down changes that they have to go through. And then they don't have the technology team. That's not what they do. Right. I mean, you're talking about a company that's been in going for decades, and doing things in a specific way. And you also have older players and like companies that are gonna not see the benefit in the AI either. So I think that Clove's ahead of the game, but you are right that you know these other companies do have the cash to come in and try to make the same thing happen, and get it done faster. But the beauty about the AI with Clove is that it's continuing to increase the bodies it's managing, which is continuing to um, make it smarter and make it more efficient, right? Got you. Yeah. Does a doctor know the difference between good AI and bad AI? That's true too. You're absolutely right in that. So just to point out something I'm noticing right now while we've been talking, BBIG is starting to trend downwards, and it is getting closer to that max pain number of 450, which to me would kind of put it right back where it was. And all this news and everything else is going to be all for naught. So BBIG did shoot up to 550 this morning. Max pain on the week is 450. Who knows? But I think if it starts getting back below that 450 mark, something to really be cautious about if you're looking to enter into this play. At this point, I probably wouldn't jump in unless it gets back above 5 as a long-term hold. I think this is going to be a great day trade opportunity today. But if you want to like jump in for the squeeze side of it, because it does have all those decent numbers, but with max pain sitting at 450, for me, I would rather be a buyer above 5. And, as it's continuing to pull away from that max pain number, then, buying now and then see it get pushed down as it's so close to it. Very disturbed. What's up? Yeah, I see Dan just said it too. One of the last 6 left in the pool. Malik says, what's your price target for Clove as of year end? You know what? Honestly, I don't know anymore. I mean, I honestly think that this stock should be trading right now, kind of in like the $20 to $30 range. That's where I think it should be trading. I mean, and I've been saying that for a while. Maybe even higher than that is where it should be trading. But the way this thing's been getting manipulated and everything else, until analysts kind of flip their price targets on this thing, who knows? It could still be trading at $9, $8 at the end of the year. So it's but really that's all it's going to take is analysts to start flipping their price targets and come out with now years from now, maybe 2 years from now, something like that, 3 years from now, I see this stock trading at least around like $60, trading, not hitting that on a squeeze and then coming back down, and eventually into the triple digits. But the big thing there is, 2 big things. So one, as on the insurance side, they need to become profitable. I think as soon as they become profitable, which could potentially their guidance that we hear about today could kind of show that they're going to be, they intend on being profitable, maybe even by next quarter. Who knows? And then we need to see it. That's going to do a lot in changing the immediate price targets with analysts. Now, on the other side, there's the AI, and then as we start to see that unfold, that's going to turn it into more of a technology play. And that's where you're going to see the huge growth, in my opinion. And it really just depends on how fast that comes out. I mean, depending on what the guidance says today could change a lot as well. Thomas says you still hold an AMC. Yeah, so I've never been like an AMC, I've just been kind of playing the run-ups and everything. And so I did grab some calls on AMC last week. Sold a couple on some spikes, but I'm still holding. What do I have? 54 strike. So I have $54 calls that actually expire this week. Just in case this thing pops and takes off. I mean, AMC's got earnings today. I don't know what they're going to say in their earnings that's going to change much about the company, but AMC operates on hype, and if it gets enough hype built up and momentum today, shit, the option chain looks decent. I think AMC always has the potential to run, and it definitely has the momentum right now. Over the last couple of days, it's been trending upwards. I think if it can kind of break past this 45 range, we might get up here closer. I'm not looking to hold these call contracts to 54. That's just a number that I picked based on the chain. And if we see a nice spike again today up to like, let's say 46, 47, I'll probably cut them and they'll still be a nice profit. But I'm looking to exit those by Tuesday, by tomorrow, end of the day tomorrow probably, just because they expire this week. And, the other thing too, with this like hidden short interest, since you brought up AMC, is, every time AMC and GameStop get their little spikes and start to move, they kind of move together. CLOV kind of moves with it too. So, even the big run up in June, we had earnings. CLOV had earnings in late May. Got hammered down after great earnings, and then a couple days later, that's when AMC had its big run to 70. I think it was like June 1st or 2nd. And then the following week is when CLOV took off. So if AMC, has a big rally this week and it puts pressure on some short sellers, and who knows if that may play into it as well. Oh, you had the Raiders too, Vegas. I just seen this. So I got knocked out by the Raiders. Man, that seemed too easy. But then, sorry guys. Part of that too is, like that was, I made that pick before the Henry Ruggs thing, and I didn't know. Well, I never went back and changed my pick. I probably would have changed my pick after, the Henry Ruggs news dropped, but I had put that pick in, I think, like last Monday, just like, oh, let me do it before I forget about it. And I forgot. And then yesterday I went to go check to see who my pick was. And yeah. Let's see here. Let me know when you're ready. I'll get it set up. Just give me a thumbs up. All right. So, speaking of NFL, like I said, Ghost and I are going to do the show tonight. We'll talk a little football, but probably for the most part, we'll be talking about CLOV. Just being that there's, we got the CLOV earnings today, and you know what? I just saw Thomas said get on the Discord. Yeah, the Discord's actually been growing and getting a lot of let me see, getting a lot more people in there. Let me drop the invite link real quick. But yeah, so we got the NFL show with Ghost and me tonight. We both did terrible on our NFL picks this week, but a lot of news dropped this week. Let me see if I can get them on here. Hold on. Why won't this turn on? Oh, I got my. Hold on, I'm having some problems with this damn. Says that the scene is locked. The hell does that mean? Sorry guys, I'm having some technical difficulties this morning. Ah, there we go. There we go. All right, damn. Let me see if I could throw him in here now. And all right, Ghost, you there? Can you hear me now? Dude, I don't know.
Can hear you great. What's going on?
It was for some reason it was like my software.
Man, I'm feeling good. I'm excited.
So I couldn't bring you over. But yeah, so what I was saying before I got caught up with that, man, we both did terrible this week on NFL, but you know what? There was so much. That's the hard part. We pick on Mondays, And then, like shit. The Raiders news about Henry Ruggs dropped after that. Aaron Rodgers getting COVID dropped after that. Like there was all this other, you know what I mean? Like I feel like we can go through and probably there was so much other stuff, injuries and things that played out a little bit differently. So I'm not gonna go too hard on us.
Yeah, I think everybody did bad this week. It's interesting. DraftKings earnings came out, and they were talking about how their gambling sector was like, a lot of the games didn't go their way, and I took that as like the house was losing on some of these bets. Maybe they were too predictable. Those large spread games, as we noticed. In the beginning of the year, I used to say, man, I don't take games when it's 10 plus points in the NFL. This ain't college. And then ironically, we found ourselves saying, yo, man, that theory is bunked this year because every team favored by more than 10 is just winning by 25, 30. Texans were a great display of that, the 2020 Jets, basically,
Yep.
or 2020 Giants. And so this year, I just noticed it was almost like, man, predictable with these larger spreads. So I'm like, their earnings came out. That's what they talked about. That was one of their focal points. And then ironically, the very next weekend, you had the biggest upset weekend of the year. I mean, there were games where you were just looking like, wait, what? The Bucks were beat by the Saints last weekend with
Mm-hmm.
their back. And now they got Tyson Hill back, and they're going to, kind of throw him in the mix. And they couldn't do much of anything in the beginning of the game against the Falcons. And then you looked at like the Denver Broncos were molly-whopping the Cowboys. Like what? They
Yeah, that
scored
was
40
crazy.
points, 40 points at home average. And they got skunked in the first half.
I'll say this though. I
Weird.
mean, I know like we both picked the Cowboys, I think, to win. I think, right? I think,
I
but
definitely had the Cowboys.
other than like beating the Chargers, in week 2, I don't think the Cowboys have really played too much competition. I mean, the Broncos aren't great either, but
Didn't they beat the Ravens?
Cowboys schedule they lost to the Buccaneers,
Oh, you're talking about
close
the
one.
Cowboys.
Yeah, the Cowboys. So it's like they lost to the Buccaneers, then they beat the Chargers, which quality win, but they beat the Eagles, the Panthers, the Giants, the Patriots, kind of like all middle of the road teams. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I still think they're gonna walk away with that division, but
Yeah,
but
but here's the thing. The Broncos are also middle of the road type of a team, and when
yeah,
they played week 1 against the Bucks, they actually played them very well. And then to top it all off, they played Dakless last Sunday night and won. So it
yeah.
still was confusing, right? It's still like, man, the Steelers beat the Broncos and we weren't looking too healthy. You
I
know what I
think,
mean? It's odd.
I mean, Christian McCaffrey came back. That didn't seem to help too
Didn't do
much
shit.
there. I was kind of banking on that. Yeah,
What about
this
the
this whole
Chiefs?
week this whole week was crazy.
What
And
about the
then
Chiefs?
how about the
What you got?
Titans? I know everyone else probably wants to hear us talk Clove, but the Titans, man, last night, before Derrick Henry got hurt, I had said I thought they were probably, going to win the Super Bowl the way Derrick Henry was running. And then I was
Mhm.
telling some friends over the weekend, like, man, if the Titans could come out and beat the Rams without Derrick Henry,
That
then I think they're really for real and shit. They they showed
I'd
that
be
they
lying.
can get by without him last night.
I'd be lying if I told you that even crossed my mind. I remember you telling me in a group chat, you're like, "Yo, man, even if they cover the spread." You actually said that on our show last week. I think you
Yeah, I
said
said
even
if
if
they
they
could
cover
just
the
cover the
spread,
spread against the Rams.
and bro, they flat out won. So, hey, the Titans defense is stepping it up, and I try to look back and I'm like, all right, Wentz throws a left-hander almost in his end zone for a touchdown, and then like I'm looking at uh, uh, Matt Stafford do the same thing in the end zone, and it's like, are these like fluke plays or like are they coming for these QBs and making them make mistakes? Because if you think about it, Matt Stafford had 4 interceptions all year, and in 26 seconds threw 2 back-to-back picks. It's like, yo, man, maybe their defense is just that solid and
Yeah,
underrated at that point because they're playing good, man. They really
five
are,
five sacks last night, I think,
bro. They were
something like
making it
that.
look
So
like, man, look at the first drive. The Rams looked like they were about to just walk all over them.
Prog's moving right now too. I don't know if watching. I was
I'm
just
in on
looking
Prog.
real quick.
I'm
Huh?
in on Prog because of you.
Yeah. So it's starting to creep up. It's got to pass 4, man. I think
Yeah.
that's going to be the big. I just noticed it just started. It looks like it's Dan just said it in the chat. It's stair stepping right now, and so
If
um,
you look every morning, it does that, man. I mean, if you look at the last like 1 month from October till now, it's stair stepped throughout the whole month.
yeah.
So that's why I actually held it rather than taking some of the profits at one point. I was like, I'm gonna hold it. If it drops so low, I'll add some more because, like you said, max it's above max pain last week. So you're gonna see some market makers start to cover some of these what I would assume calls in the money calls. There's a few I'm looking forward to, man. We have such a juicy earnings. This next couple of weeks is just they're juicy. There's juicy ones in there. I was putting together my list, and I got a lot of calls that I put out there in reference to the earnings that we got going on because there's a lot, dude, of like some high profile names too.
So I
Some of the ones
know.
I'm excited for is next week. You have Plug, and with the infrastructure bill coming out, I'm actually excited for the win. Believe it or not, they got pummeled from Green, the whole greenage thing that went down, and then they got pummeled because of right before that there
When
was
is that one?
talks about them. The win,
Yeah.
I think it's tomorrow
Okay.
or
Let's see.
Thursday. Oh no, yeah,
Yeah.
Tuesday, tomorrow.
And then I know, like I said earlier, AMC's today. Prog's I think is on Wednesday. When's DraftKings? Or is that already?
That's why they got beat up. They went down right after their earnings because they lost a little bit of money on their gambling sector. Like they were losing bets, bro. You know what I mean? Like they were
Got
flat
it.
out
Got it.
losing bets. And then you got the biggest upset in the year. Comes right afterwards. Tinfoil hat theory there.
Yep.
But no, there's Warner Music Group. I made a killing on that. I got in at 24, 25 when it IPO'd. That one comes out on Wednesday, or sorry, Monday of next week. Um, Nvidia comes out Wednesday, November 17th. I'm excited for. Um, Foot Locker, November 19th. Excited for. And I think as long as we get some red days in between, you can take advantage of buying some of those calls and riding them to earnings. That's one of my favorite type of calls in the game, to be honest with you.
I just Danny did it
Okay,
because of
Danny
the
did
past
it.
four. But beers on him for everyone in the chat. I'm just looking through
Yeah,
here. Hey,
we
so
crossed four on Prague last week.
yeah. Hey, so I actually I gotta not right this second, but I'm gonna have to get off soon. So I wanted to make sure and talk about tonight, man. So for anyone that's new, me and Ghost do a show every Monday night. It's called NFL No Financial Limits. We normally talk about whatever the hot stock plays are in the market, stuff that whatever happened that day, what we think's coming for the week, squeeze plays we're looking into, whatever it may be. But today I think is going to be all about Clove. For the most part, unless but we're gonna really get into it, and maybe I was even talking, maybe we start a little early today or something, man. If there's a lot to go over,
Yeah,
but definitely come check us out, and then before we do sign off, what are you thinking? What are your expectations for tonight?
I'll be honest with you. I'm really looking forward to some news about the Clover Assistant. They've been putting out so much, tweet after tweet after tweet about some of the things that Andrew Toy is capable of and what they've gone over. And I just feel like there's like a nugget of news with all those patents that came out, prior to last quarter's earnings in August. I feel like they didn't touch base at all about any of them. And I think this time around they're going to touch base about some of the ideas that they either have or some of the forward looking. But I also think the Clover Assistant's going to probably pick up a lot more bodies than it had. I know their revenue is breaking $1 billion annually for the Clover Assistant, so I want to see what that number looks like moving forward. I'm actually really, really intrigued about the DCE portion because I didn't expect 77,000 lives added under management last quarter in
Yeah.
such a short time. Because in May, when they went over their earnings, I've said this a couple times, on May 17th, when they went over their first quarter earnings, that was already 6 weeks into the second quarter. So they didn't talk about DC at all. And so that was that whole under promise, over deliver mind state that they had in my eyes. So the
Yeah.
fact that 6 weeks later, they go through that second, in August, obviously, they go through that second half of the second quarter, and you could just see how many lives under management. So in other words, I want to see what DCE looks like. Are they going to add another 20, 30,000? Are they going to add another 75,000? Is it going to be a lot lower this time around. So I'm kind of curious to see that. I want to hear them talk about what the 3.5 stars, what the upgrade did to them. Because I know it doesn't really go into effect from obviously the third quarter earnings yet, but I want to see, like, moving forward, what exactly does that do from a financial standpoint as far as adding revenue to the company. And lastly, the biggest thing of all, how much does that lower MCR, and is MCR a lot lower this time around? And again, I don't think it'll be that lower. Let's go. Got the bell in here too. It's been a minute since I caught the show before the bell hit, man. Yeah, man. I want to see what MCR looks like. I really do.
And I, you know what? I wasn't even earlier. I was kind of talking about what I was going to be looking forward to and everything. And I didn't even think about that. Like, that 3.5 stars obviously isn't going to have an effect on quarter three, but that's probably going to make a big difference in their guidance as well, like what they're projecting moving forward. Because, right. So yeah, I think that's another big one, that I'll be looking to, see how that plays out. I'm really excited about tonight, man. Hey, real quick, BBIG. Did you see that news this morning?
I did not.
So, dude, it's kind of right near Max Payne right now. It's at 487. Max Payne's at 450. But this morning they announced that they're doing a spinoff company. So they're still going to do their regular merger that they were talking about, right? But for every 10 shares you own of BBIG, you get 1 share of TYDE, which is Cryptide, and it's going to be a crypto company. So you basically get both for every, you know what I'm saying? Like,
so I didn't know they were going to do a spinoff. I was under the impression that they were switching the ticker to Tide back in the day when I started bringing up BBIG on this show. So I wonder if maybe that's the difference in it now. They're going to actually give you a different share of a different corporation in a sense.
Yeah, so the way I'm reading it, this just came out this morning, but I think this might push this into, like I said, if it can kind of get up past 5 and start moving, it's got high short interest, could be a nice, squeeze play that might be worth holding. But basically, what we're looking at is, let's say you own 1,000 shares of BBIG, right? Once they do the spinoff, you keep those 1,000 shares of BBIG because that's still going to merge with that media group that they were already planning on. But then you're also going to get 100 shares of Cryptide. So you know what I mean? So it's like right now you could buy into both companies.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, man, because I remember I tweeted something in regards to there was a specific date, almost like a dividend, that you had to have these shares prior to benefiting off of Tide. And the way it was reading at the time, I thought they were switching the ticker itself to Tide. And now that just bugs me out because it was like TYDE, right?
Yep.
Yeah, this is bugging me out, man. I got to find that article. I tweeted it somewhere. I want to see if they changed that because I misinterpreted the shit out of that if not. That's interesting, man. I'm going to probably grab some to have some fun. I've been playing with BBIG for a minute, man.
That's why I know that when you came on, that's why I have it down here, is because of that, man. This morning it popped up and it's it's really intriguing, man. Like, we look I like
this 5.
What's that?
I like the entry under 5.
Oh, hell yeah. I just did, like I said, the only thing that kind of, it popped up this morning to 550, right? And then it's been getting hammered back down, and Max Payne's at 450. So it's kind of like one of those things where if you buy in right now at 487, high chance that it gets, pinned back down there and they have it trade sideways, or, it could also go in the other direction. I think once it breaks above 5, now you have this squeeze play where it's past Max Payne and maybe, they lose control and they can't pin it anymore. So I don't know, man. I'm keeping an eye on it right now.
What's your thought on Tesla right now?
Oh, we talked about it a little bit this morning. It's like, a lot of my friends were like, "Hey, let's get puts on Tesla today. Let's get puts on Tesla." But it dropped so much. Here, I'm gonna take AMC off and I'll pull it up right here. It dropped so much this morning. Like it went from 12.16 down to 11.30. So is that the dip? Is the dip over? Or Because then you look and and then it came back down and touched that 1130 again this morning, and now it's starting to creep back up. Like, I don't know. Or
So
is this a is this a bull trap right here where, once it hits like 1170, it starts falling again? I don't know, man.
So I look at some weird shit that I see with this, man, because there's been times where Elon's been like, "Yo, man, this is way too high. This is way too expensive. My stock is way too expensive," and it was at like 700 a pop, and this was pre-split, and it took like a dump that day. I mean, it's up to what 12 times 5, 6 grand a share at this point. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean from that time frame, and this is kind of like the same way when Hertz news came out and it started riding up to the 1200 range. He's like, "Yo, you guys, there's no contract signed with Hertz yet. Like, chill." And then the stock tanks for a day, and then all of a sudden it bounces back. So the only difference this time around to me is the fact that his brother had withdrawn some shares, and then obviously he's based upon a poll, he's willing to sell 10% of his stake, so that he can obviously pay for some of the taxes that would be from I guess the unrealized gains taxes that they're talking about is getting him in a position where he's like, "Man, this is crazy. I might as well scalp off the top now then."
Pay those
Um,
taxes.
yeah, but I mean, the man's got to make money off some of his shares at some point. You could be the richest person in the world off unrealized gains all you want, but you know, I think I'm really curious to see not only when he goes through with it, if he does, which I believe he will. I just don't think it'll be right away. I think it's going to be like a longer time frame, and that's what's going to bring it right back up when he announces over the next 10 years he's going to do it, or 5 years, or. But I also want to know what he's going to do with those resources. Like, is he going to really consider this world hunger situation? That would be real cool to see. That the guys like Iron Man, if he's doing shit like this now, is he going to reinvest into maybe the boring tunnels, or is he going to all of a sudden get into Tesla X and take it public? And like, what is he going to do with this? Because there have been times that he's actually brought up the fact that he might pool all of his companies under one HUD in a sense. And I think if that happens with the shit he's doing from the science side of things, the business from digging tunnels from Vegas, Cali, and the wormholes underneath the earth to fix this whole traffic situation, Tesla X, of course, and then Tesla itself, or SpaceX, of course, and then Tesla itself. So I'm kind of curious to know like what his next move is, because we might see some volatility. Obviously, we might see a pretty big dip. It might even dip below a G again, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I think the explosion just gets harder and harder every single time he plays with this stock in a sense. He's always got a rhyme or reason, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. I mean, shit. I was even saying this morning, just kind of joking, but if he was to sell, right, take 10%, take enough out to kind of pay off that whatever his taxes are and all that, and then the stock comes crashing down because he announced
He'll
that he
buy
was going
more.
to sell it, he could just buy back that same amount.
He would.
So
He would.
BBIG
Knowing him,
spiking
he
right
would.
now too. So yeah, I would say this
Let's get
probably
it.
broke above max pain now, man. And I don't know. I might look at some option plays on that in a second, but I gotta get going, man. I gotta go get the kids ready for school and everything else. So everybody that's still here, thank you guys for joining this morning, and please come check us out tonight. We'll be going over earnings. It should be pretty exciting. I
We
think in the pre or after hours will still be going on, so maybe we'll really have some action too.
Yeah,
Um,
we might tailgate a half hour earlier, so maybe 3:30 Pacific Standard. You could jump on and kind of hang tight for us, and maybe we'll jump on a little early today. I'll send some tweets out. I'm sure Coach will, just to kind of give y'all the heads up.
yeah, absolutely. And in the description of this video is Ghost's Twitter link and Ghost's YouTube channel. So go follow him as well. And then we'll be putting it out there. If we get on early, I'll make sure and put it out there. And we probably we will, because that earnings call happens at 2. Give us a little bit of time to kind of digest everything, and then we'll get on and start talking about it. So yeah, it should be a lot of fun. But again, thank you guys. Thank you, Ghost. I'll see
Appreciate
you
you for
later
having
on.
me.
Yep.
Yes, sir, Coach. I'll see y'all later, man. Be easy today. Good luck in the markets.
All right, you too.
Thank you.